What?
Calm down.
What?
I actually. All right, business at hand. Hey everybody, and welcome again to F This Movie, the official podcast of fthismovie.net. F This Movie Fest love for F This Movie Fest lovers. My name is Patrick Bromley, and welcome to our very special annual F This Movie episode. I am joined here by nearly everyone, not everyone, we're missing some people, but I'm joined by Jan. No, you have to say hi on the podcast.
Hi.
JB.
Hello.
Adam Thaz.
Hello.
Mike.
Hey, everybody.
Adam Risky.
Hi, everyone.
And all the way from Los Angeles, Doug.
LA Doug.
And of course, over there recording us live on the Periscope feed is my beautiful wife, Erica.
Hi, guys.
And our friend Norkay is over there drunk, passed out in a chair. This is our first time ever being live on Periscope as we record this episode. So if we have questions or comments coming in during the course of the podcast, we have no idea how many people are tuned in right now on Periscope. But if we have questions or comments coming in, we will answer them live on the podcast. So if you are watching live now, everyone at home, please send us your comments and questions. I can't do both. I can't multitask. People at home. And so, you just
What made you choose 1984? Question
Great
already
question.
popped up.
From who?
Who's that from?
It's already gone.
Sorry.
Son of a bitch. Okay. Thank you, whoever asked. What made you choose 1984? If you watched all 5 movies, you fucking know what made me choose 1984. Those movies kick all of the dicks.
It might have been Corbin Foster.
All right, Corbin. Well, some great movies came out in 1984. As evidenced by what we just watched for F This Movie Fest 5, the world's only all-Twitter film festival. We, of course, kicked it off with The Last Starfighter, followed by Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, followed by Night of the Comet, followed by Streets of Fire, and we finished things up with Ghostbusters. So we're going to talk about the festival, we're going to talk about Twitter, we're going to talk about the passing of a Supreme Court justice, and
JK.
we're going to answer your questions. We're going to answer your questions if you have them. I guess if you, I don't know, just like...
Well, Steven Zarello just asked if this is your normal podcast audio setup.
No.
All of us sitting around and... Okay, so Steven Zarello asks, is this your normal podcast audio setup? No, usually we're in another room with microphones and headphones. Very professional.
Yes.
Like.
Or Skype.
This is us sitting in a circle. This is our usual podcast setup for this show, I guess. This is how we always do it, sitting in a circle in front of the screen here in the basement.
Wait a minute, Patrick. Someone just commented that listening to the podcast, I thought it came from a magical place, and now, because of Periscope, I see it's just a shitty basement.
I like that you're holding a fake screen.
First of all, it's not
For
even a
this
basement. It's a dungeon.
theater of the mind.
A sex dungeon.
It's a
Joseph Finn wants to know what's the poster.
What's the poster over there? Well, we have a poster for Psycho. This is not interesting to those of you listening at home. We have a poster for Psycho, we have a poster for Phantom of the Paradise, and we have a poster for To Kill a Mockingbird.
Yay.
This is
That's
a
just
fun
that
little
wall.
Weird experiment.
What could possibly go wrong? I mean, possibly go wrong.
So let's talk about some of these movies.
What
from
do those 3
1984.
movies have in common? Killing.
We're going to talk about the movies that
Phantom.
we watched today from 1984. A lot of people chiming in. Thank you, all of you who were with us for some of it. Several movies, all of it. Many of you, again, because you're in other parts of the world.
Yes,
We're wrapping up
thank
at
you.
like 4 a.m.
Thank you to those of you who crossed time zones and came with us.
What are some places people were tweeting from?
Well, I
Germany.
was here. So
Brunswick, Germany was one of them.
I can
Someone
only-
was
Finland,
8
right?
time zones away.
That was, I think,
Forward.
I think that was Germany.
Yeah.
And then
like
there's
talking to us
from the future. And then Netherlands. And then the rest of the world, I have to assume.
California.
California.
Ecuador. Someone said Ecuador.
I don't think
Ecuador, thank you.
Shanghai to Chungking.
Periscope.
No, that was Temple of Doom.
Audience.
Finland?
I
Yeah,
know
someone was
his life story.
Finland. England, lots of
From
England.
soup to nuts.
So let's
London.
go around and we'll get everybody's favorite movies, and then we'll go movie by movie maybe. Jan, what was your favorite movie of the fest today?
What was the last one again?
Ghostbusters.
Go ahead.
Ghostbusters. I guess judging by my jumpsuit, it might have been Ghostbusters.
That's right. We forgot to
Although,
mention, those of you listening at home, Jan is in a full Ghostbusters jumpsuit.
It's been so long since I've seen Streets of Fire, and I really dug that as well. Like, surprised. by how much I dug that.
Dug it. Nice.
J-Bones, what was your favorite?
Ghostbusters is always terrific, no matter how many times you've seen it, as a lot of people attested to on the Twitter machine. But today, I think the one I enjoyed the most was Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. I hadn't seen it in a long time. My God, say what you want about the film. It's fun. It delivers. It's peppy.
It's peppy, all right. Adam, thoughts?
I'm gonna go with JB on this one, and I haven't watched Temple of Doom in forever, and it was really like fun to watch, especially with you guys. It was a lot of fun to watch it
Because we're as racist as the movie.
yeah, that's pretty much
And we
it.
hate children.
Yes.
Well, halfway through the movie, Patrick reached into Doug's heart and
Metaphorically. I have no
I
heart.
literally reached into his pants.
I have no pants.
Mike, how about you?
Coming into the day, I thought
Coming into it.
going into did I have an
Oh, I
extra?
thought it was
thought
going to be
it was my-
Ghostbusters.
you didn't have to blow the bloody dolls off, did you?
All right, it was Ghostbusters. I'm just gonna and we'll stop there.
Adam Risky, how about you?
This is the one where the Supreme Court justice died. that really perked me up.
Too soon.
No, I would say probably Ghostbusters overall. It got progressively better for me as the day went on, just in terms of the movies that I liked and prefer the most.
So you would say the order was pretty much perfect?
Yeah,
Would you say Patrick knows what he's doing?
I would absolutely say that.
Thank you. It's only because you're sitting next to me. Douglas, you live in Los Angeles
Correct.
now. It's changed you.
It has.
What was your pre-LA Doug? What's the favorite movie? Pre-LA Doug wears glasses.
Oh, yeah, sorry. My favorite movie was
LA
The Karate Kid. Was that one of the options?
Sure.
I'm pretty sure that was one
And
of
then
the
LA
options.
Doug got the LASIK.
My favorite movie was obviously Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, starring my man, LaBouffe, the Buff,
Give it up for
Mutt!
Swinging on them vines with the monkeys.
Ants all crawling up in my mouth.
Talking shit to H4 because I ride a motorcycle. I'm
Wait,
a
so what-
nymphomaniac.
Hold on. What's the question?
I guess what's your favorite Shia LaBeouf movie? I guess.
The one, the Sia video, that's pretty good. Where he's in the cage?
Sure, no.
The one where he shows his dick.
Money Never Sleeps.
I've seen that
It's
one.
called Money Never Sleeps.
Disturbing.
Oh,
What was your favorite movie today?
Ghostbusters. It's so fun, but I also love Night of the Comet. A close second was Night of the Comet.
I think for me, and see, how about you? I know you were drunk through most of it.
Yeah. I'm going Doom.
Project.
Doom.
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 Temple of Doom. Bu, how about you?
Ghostbusters.
All right. That's
Yeah.
fine.
Sorry, I don't mean to be.
Movies aside, though, I think my
you don't mean to
favorite
be awesome?
moment of the day
Yeah.
lasted 2 hours, and it was all the people on the Twitter machine finding different ways of saying "what the fuck" to Streets of Fire. When is this? What is this? What could this be? What is going on? Where are we? Who am I?
Temple of Doom was super fun. Ghostbusters was the best movie that we watched because it's perfect from beginning to end. I think my favorite in terms of watching it on Twitter was Night of the Comet, just because so many people seem to be seeing it for the first time and responding like, well, this movie's great. How come I've never seen it? Thanks, Patrick. And I was like, you are welcome. So that was cool. Kelly Maroney.
Oh my gosh. This is PG-13
who
Periscope.
stars, yeah, but it's an 84 PG-13, so that's basically an X. Kelly Maroney, who's in Night of the Comet, and very sweetly chimed in, like, as the end credits were rolling, like, I'll try to jump in a few times. Like, no, Kelly Maroney, it's too late! And so we didn't hear from her at all during Streets of Fire, which I felt was bullshit, because I want to know her thoughts on that. Any more questions?
Who's
Samantha,
Kelly
or anything?
Maroney, by the way? I forget
There was
who-
a question and I
That's
missed
Samantha.
it. Does
She
anyone have a
plays the
question?
cheerleader. Yeah.
Go ahead and
Some-
chime in if you guys have
yeah.
a question or a comment. You want to see Doug take off an item of clothing?
Yes.
This is super weird, trying to service the podcast and a live
Forget about
podcast.
the Periscope.
You've serviced
They're
more
pathetic.
than one thing.
No.
They're fleas on
Do you
ants.
think reverse psychology
Oh,
will
yeah.
get them to chime
Wait,
in?
no. Corbin asked what was
worked.
the. Wait, someone.
worked.
What was the most surprising thing of the day? Or someone said what was the big. Oh, Great Weirdo. Hey, what was the big surprise of the day? Show
was
us
the
Doug boobs. Someone wants to see. Oh, Rick wants to see Doug boobs.
I think this is probably our best podcast ever.
Break out the dude.
So Rick wants to see Doug boobs. What
I'll
was the biggest
describe them
surprise?
for people on the
Let's see,
for people
almost
listening.
specs.
I mean, Night of the Comet and Streets of Fire, I think, were the two like most untested movies.
Yeah.
And as I suspected, I think Night of the Comet was a little bit better received. Although people seem to really like Streets of Fire, there was some confusion, as you pointed out, as to
But for both movies, we were
when
getting,
the movie takes place.
we were getting honest, unfiltered reactions. Which, and I've told this before on the podcast, that famous English professor, if you could have anything, what would you have? Like, what would be your wish? And he
Ooh,
said,
A Million Wishes.
no.
Oh.
His wish was
Love.
to read Romeo and Juliet again for the first time. And often at F This Movie Fest, through people's Twitter comments, we get to experience a movie for the first time because so many people haven't seen it, and that's really fun.
Yeah, I was saying at the end of Ghostbusters that I have never seen the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man joke unspoiled, because by the time I finally got to see Ghostbusters, it was on video. Thanks, Mom. And the joke had been ruined because it was such a part of the pop culture that I knew that the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man was coming. To see it in '84 when you don't know that that joke is coming and that that's what that movie builds to, I wish I could have that. So I guess if I could have one wish, it would be that. I guess it would be that.
At that point in the film, someone tweeted the perfect reveal in terms of the timing of the
Right.
cut
Yeah.
from Aykroyd to our first real full body view of him.
And
Yeah.
it's great because you hear like the thump, and you're like, "What the fuck?" And then like then finally like
And
they
then you
all
see
start.
a little bit of his head beyond the building.
And then you see the Statue of Liberty.
Right.
Yeah.
Because they're playing the R&B music.
Yeah.
Yo,
love
keeps
keeps
lifting
Oh, yeah.
me
Do
higher.
we have to pay royalties for that? If
Not
it's-
if Adam
Oh.
says
If it's on okay. So let's
He
go
has
back
to
to
pay
the
that.
beginning and talk about The Last Starfighter. Douglas, I'm going to
Oh.
throw it to you.
Yes, sir.
Your reactions to The Last Starfighter, a movie you had seen?
I don't think I saw it because I thought I'm pretty sure I didn't see The Last Starfighter. I think that I thought I saw it at one point. That makes sense in my head.
You think you thought?
I think I thought I saw it at one point. I thought it starred a young kid as the Starfighter. Is there a movie with like a kid in a spaceship?
Flight of the Navigator?
Just-
That's absolutely probably what I saw
Yeah.
and, switched in my head. And so, and then, so I saw The Last Starfighter and I
Just
loved
getting
it.
closer for Doug Boobs.
I loved it. I really enjoyed it. You don't want me for analysis. Come on.
Doug is not analysis, he's color.
Got
That's
it.
right. I'm like the John Madden of the podcast. Ace is the place.
That makes me the sideline reporter.
Adam Risky, how about you, Last Starfighter?
I got your back for the other 4 movies, but I don't like this one, so skip.
How do you not like The Last Starfighter?
I don't like The Last Starfighter, I'm sorry. I don't want to rain on anybody's parade, so skip.
I have a good question.
All right,
I
good.
missed who asked it though. I'm sorry. If you could do one more movie added on to this festival, what would it have been?
If we could do one more movie added on to the '84 festival, what
Purple
would
Rain.
it be? It might be Purple Rain.
Purple
It might be. I mean, Gremlins would be fun, but it's like
Oh, Gremlins.
it fills too much of the same spot as Ghostbusters. I think.
Yeah.
I've got a great selection.
What? Let's hear it.
The
Karate
6th
Kid.
movie?
Yeah.
This is Spinal Tap.
No.
Karate Kid?
Why not?
I don't know.
Because you suggested it.
That's usually the reason.
Yeah. No, that would maybe be good. I honestly never thought about it because I have known for a year
Rain
that
would
these
be
5 would be the 5.
Karate Kid might be good.
Wait,
by-
did you just
by
say
the way, by the
you've
way,
known
by the-
for a year?
Does
Yeah.
that mean you
You
know
know what
now
yeah.
what next year's going to be?
I have no idea what next year's.
That's what he just says.
He'll know
though.
tomorrow, though, guys.
I'll start thinking about it.
Oh, by the
Midnight
way,
tonight.
the Last Starfighter thing. I
You're
was
not allowed to
kid-
talk
I
about
was
a movie
kidding.
you
I,
hate.
Yeah.
I like it. That was called acting. That was the big reveal.
You're pretty good. You're pretty good.
Look at this fucking kid. He's pretty good.
Look who's got fucking chops, kid.
I'm a T2 tank of talent.
Mike, Last Starfighter.
Can the
I
Periscope
like
people
Last
hear me?
Starfighter. It's okay. However,
What the fuck is wrong with this bass?
but watching it with everyone today made it infinitely more fun
Sure.
than were I to watch it at home by myself. Where I spent
All right.
most of You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I got it. Adam, do you like The Last Starfighter?
I've got your back. I absolutely love that movie.
Thank you.
And I loved watching it again. And
Oh, sure, have your own opinion. Come on. Piggyback on Patrick's.
No, one of the things I've always held with, and I know that I've discussed it before to arguments, but I've always thought that would be one of those movies that I'd like to see get remade because of the special effects in it. But watching it again, the special effects really worked a lot better than my memory served me. So it was great to watch it.
Well,
again.
this Blu-ray was polished because the star, what's the ship called?
The Gunstar.
Gunstar.
The Gunstar was blinking. I don't know if you saw that because they redid the CGI in some scenes, so the
and
Gunstar
those little
was
creatures
blinking.
were walking
Yeah,
by
and then
all
like
the
Jabba
time.
was slithering. Oh shit! Different,
I was gonna say, I'm like sitting here like, really? It's like, I don't remember them doing this.
Oscar Isaac was great in it as Alex.
J-Bones, Last Starfighter.
I like Last Starfighter when it first came out.
Yeah.
I mean, I really still remember when it first came out, how much I liked it. And during the screening tonight, I was saying that doing public relations, doing press, the filmmakers talked about how they were using what was then this new technology. But watching it today, I think between Last Starfighter and Night of the Comet, I was thinking what a filmmaker can do if they're talented on a low budget, because both of those were relatively low budget films, but they find ways to work around it. They find interesting ways to tell a story. They get Robert Preston, who shows up and people were tweeting about that too. Oh, a professional actor who's been doing this for a long time.
Kid was a professional too, I think. A professional asshole.
It's a fun little film.
It is, honestly, yeah. Jan, I'll go to you in 1 second. But if there's a problem with the movie, it's the refusal of the call section takes him all the way from space back to Earth and then back into space. You kind of wish he could just get it all out of his system still in space so we don't have to go all the way back down and then all the way back up. But listen, whatever. Jan, your thoughts on The Last Starfighter?
I've always really liked The Last Starfighter. As you know, I had a prior commitment. I had to miss all but the last 5 minutes.
Oh,
And
that's
the
right.
last few minutes reminded me of how much I love the whole rest of the movie.
Should we just cut then?
Wait,
Just
no, wait.
cut away from Jan.
Can we pause this, rewatch Last Starfighter now that I'm here?
Not a problem.
It just reminded me how much I love the spirit of the movie. That moment when the little one climbs up and starts playing the game. The people at the trailer park who were just so on board to support the kids. It's just great. It has a great heart to it. So.
Joseph Finn says that his wife had never seen it, but she loved it.
Yeah.
And then you can have drama without being mean-spirited. Because there's a sort of... People were tweeting about this at the beginning, too, that the first 10 or 15 minutes looks like it was done by Spielberg at the beginning of his career. That it has this sort of good-natured...
Small town something, right.
One thing I thought was kind of an interesting thread throughout all the movies was not to, be too on the nose, but it was anything goes was the kind of theme of every movie, where it seemed like every director and filmmaker kind of had their bag of tricks and they wanted to really kind of assert themselves in terms of bringing their own unique vision to each of the movies. There's so many movies nowadays that are just very generic and they don't have a lot of idiosyncrasy, and all of these movies have a lot of quirk to it
because they're cookie cutter and they all use the same script book or something. And I know people were tweeting about this during Night of the Comet, and you were commenting on this on Night of the Comet, that Night of the Comet takes some turns where even if you've seen a lot of movies, you honestly don't know where it's going to go. And how often does that happen?
There's this thing I want to say about Night of the Comet. Another thread that wasn't intentional, and maybe it just speaks to what movies were doing in 1984. Last Starfighter makes the kind of nerdy kid who plays video games cool. Ghostbusters makes scientists cool. Indiana Jones makes archaeologist cool. Streets of Fire makes Michael Paré cool.
If you need me, I'll be there for you.
Someone tweeted and called Michael Paré a really interesting block of wood.
I agree with the second part. So I just like that in '84 that we're kind of embracing a different kind of hero. If that makes sense.
And we need one.
Yeah, right? Okay, thanks for... I'm
I'm
embarrassed
holding out for one.
to be down here. We went all the way around, and everybody talked about their feelings about Last Starfighter, and nobody really talked about Catherine Mary Stewart, so...
We were
That's
saving
your-
it for you.
I'll go
you,
ahead
dude.
and do it. I'll say she's what makes the movie work, you guys. I love Lance Guest, I love Robert Preston, I love Dan O'Hurley, but if we don't have something on Earth worth saving, guys, what's the point? Catherine Mary Stewart is worth going to war for in outer space, and so
She's
she's really the heart of the film, guys.
If you want to see an interesting short movie, go on YouTube and type in Patrick Bromley Saving Private Stewart, because it's a great movie.
It's all right. It's okay. It's been subpoenaed.
Earn this.
Catherine Mary Stewart, heart of the Ghostbusters.
I've realized that you have a very specific type because you really like the girl in this movie.
Yeah.
And you like the girl a lot in that other movie we watched today.
Not even comment.
Yeah, not even comment.
Okay,
Because
so you
those
picked up on
girls,
that.
yeah, I
no,
picked up.
she's-
It's like a girl that was like Joe from Facts of Life. I
Right.
thought that was very.
Yes.
Yeah, big curly hair.
Oh.
And yeah,
I'm more of a Blair guy myself.
got it.
It used to be Tootie. Used to be Tootie. Now it's Blair.
Show all
Mac
the way.
McIntyre asked if CMS ever tweeted you back.
CMS did not ever. Mac McIntyre asked if Catherine Mary Stewart ever tweeted us back. She did not. I don't know how active she is on Twitter. She may be very active and just has me blocked. I don't know for sure.
Well, there was that YouTube
I
incident.
don't think she does. So
I
maybe
think
she
she's going to
just
write you a letter.
is not into it. But Kelly Maroney, thank you,
Strongly
Kelly
worded
Maroney.
letter.
She was genuinely touched by the nice things that we said about her. So that was very nice.
And if she keeps it up, she'll be genuinely touched by members of the F This Movie crew.
And then there'll be the inevitable YouTube video and
think so,
inevitable
Emily.
lawsuit.
What was next?
Doom.
Temple of Doom.
You can't spell subpoena without P.
Oh.
Douglas, I'll
Or
circle back
you.
to you.
Or poo.
Temple of Doom?
Temple of Doom.
I mean, what can you
Tea
say?
of the D, my man.
What can you say about it? Listen. It's no secret that Adam? No, I really enjoyed watching it. In fact, it was the first.
Doug is here from LA.
I'm here from Los Angeles. I was tweeting
this morning.
pretty heavily for the first movie, and then was tweeting for the first half of Temple of Doom, and then I think once they got through the cart and the carts go outside and they're on the bridge, I was so enraptured by the movie that I stopped. I was like, I was trying to read people, but I'm watching it with fresh eyes. I don't think we saw that since the Music Box, probably 8-9 years ago.
There
That
were
was
moments
Raiders.
That was
throughout the
Raiders, so-
festival. There were moments throughout
me.
the festival, especially during Indy, where the tweets went way down
Yeah.
because people were watching.
Which
the
is,
movie.
that's totally fine because you can't keep that level. It always starts, and you'll probably speak to this later, but like this is the fifth festival, obviously, and it always starts. Everyone's gangbusters, and everyone tweets like crazy. You can't even keep up, and then it inevitably lulls and sags. And obviously, with Temple of Doom, I don't think that was a factor of fatigue. I think it was a factor of, oh, this is really fun to watch. And then it kind of ebbs and flows and whatnot. And then near the end, I mean, by the time Ghostbusters was wrapping up, every time you touched the top of your screen for me on my phone, it was like I couldn't read all of them, and
Right.
That's
you
right.
couldn't keep up.
Yeah.
But with Temple of Doom, and I think a little bit with one of the other movies.
Yeah.
One of them probably.
1984.
Yeah, 1984 movie. The same thing happened.
To people listening to the podcast, that thing you just did with your mouth
Yes.
is going to sound like their equipment is malfunctioning.
Only if they have dial-up.
Our main audience is grandparents, so it's
Yeah.
fine. It's fine.
They sent me the CD in the mail for 50 free hours. That's 50 podcasts, hon.
Adam Risky, Temple of
Not
Doom.
the way we're going.
Or did you also
It's
not
like
like
7
that
podcasts.
one?
No, I was teasing about Last Starfighter. It's a cute movie.
It's no Bed of Roses.
Well, fuck you, because it's not Bed of Roses.
No, it's
Thank
not.
you very much.
Thank God it's not.
They
Why we
explore,
watched it.
They explore humanity in Bed of Roses in ways that no other film has. So,
For good reason.
Excuse me, all now. No, Temple of Doom is like set piece. It's like
Psychosis.
action set piece of the movie. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah,
the
really.
It's like the stunt spectacular at a theme park, and I really enjoy it. It's a lot of fun. I don't love every scene in the movie, but the highlights are so high that it makes up for any type of lulls in it. One thing that I found interesting, and I think it's probably because I was tweeting during a lot of it, is that have never been less annoyed by Willie than I have this time.
Yes, I actually feel the same way.
I feel like
Is that
she's...
because everyone else on Twitter was super annoyed?
Yeah.
Wait, that was my point.
Yeah, I almost... No, it could have been that. It could have been just, I don't know. I think she's just really game. She's just, not... She's, like, supposed to be a wet blanket, so she plays it up to the hilt. And, I don't know, I think she's fine in it. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, I think if you're expecting Marion, like, Willie is kind of a shock, you know, because Marion is so capable and awesome, and Willie is screaming and hello. Mike,
down Periscope.
in an audience, like down here with us, would you say Temple of Doom was more fun?
I really,
or-
first of all, thanks for having me on these
No,
podcasts.
thank
I have
you
so
for
much
coming.
fun when you
Podcast.
make fun of me the entire time.
I'm not making fun of you.
No,
I'm making fun of everything
I-
you stand for.
Temple of Doom was the first movie my family recorded off cable, so I watched the hell out of it, and I love Temple of Doom. Maybe there's some Goonies derivation there, I don't know, but I recognize the things people don't like about it, but I don't care. I love the hell out of Temple of Doom, and I had a ton of fun today.
Nice. Adam.
It was interesting.
Wait, I'm sorry, real quick. Didn't you wear that Purple Rain shirt last year?
Fucking. I
wasn't recorded on video last year.
I know, I did.
This
but
year it's appropriate.
I know. I was like, it's 1984.
No,
I
you
gotta
did the
do
right
it.
thing.
He
You did the
calls
right
that shirt February.
He's got like 5 of them.
thing. No, that's fine. It's an awesome shirt, and you should be wearing it.
I figured it was working.
Yeah.
So the
Thanks,
Temple of Doom. That's what we're
Yeah.
talking about. Okay, Temple of Doom. It was. It's one of those movies I've watched like 1,000 times on cable or whatever through the years, but it's been a while since I've really sat down, watched the entire. Watched the entire movie, and it was a lot darker than I remember, and it's very, it's very interesting, like seeing it kind of like the inside of this like Indiana Jones sandwich with the trilogy. Like you've got these two more lighthearted movies, and then this one's a lot darker. So
Here's the question I have. Is Indiana Jones the hero of this movie? I mean, think about it. What does he end up doing? This was the child slavery one? Oh, he's the hero. I'm so sorry. I take that back. I didn't know with the kids, right?
Yeah. You were Team Molo Ron? Is that
Well,
what
a
I'm
little
understanding?
bit. I liked his reverse mohawk.
he's trying to bring down the European countries. So
I think Doug is thinking of Crystal Skull, where he thinks the hero is LaBeef.
His boy Mutt?
Oh, my friend, you got him on speed dial. Right there, he's probably watching right now. What's up, beef?
He's in the middle of some performance art piece.
He's hanging out with all the entourage guys.
J-Bones, Temple of Doom.
This is not original to me, because someone tweeted this, and I thought it was one of the best tweets of the day, that you have to give Spielberg credit on Temple of Doom for not following the template of Raiders of the Lost Ark. And very few films take that chance because, oh, this is what people like. We're just going to do it again and again and again. So I see Willie as part and parcel of that. We did Marion, who was sort of a Howard Hawks, Frank Capra female lead. And so we want to go a different way, and we want to make this film not only a lot darker, but also to have this female star that's a little bit more like Jean Harlow and like a William Wellman film or something. I had never thought about that before because if you think about it, Last Crusade and Crystal Skull, it's like they rolled out the blueprint of the first Raiders film and said, okay, here are the beats and here are the action scenes and here's what we have to do. It's different.
Drew McWeeny at HitFix a couple of years ago. I don't know when it was. He wrote a really interesting article. Check it out. I don't remember the name of it. That Temple of Doom like ends up making him like Raiders more because Temple of Doom takes place first,
Right.
and that it's the movie that brings that at the beginning of the movie Indiana Jones is fortune and glory, and it brings him to the it belongs in a museum point, that it's his experience in Temple of Doom that turns him into the character of Indiana Jones, which I think is an interesting
So Raiders happens
read of the movie.
After.
in the future?
Yeah. Raiders
Interesting.
hasn't happened yet.
Okay.
So
In the first
Okay,
sequence,
okay.
the first sequence in Temple of Doom, he's almost James Bond,
right.
even down to the tux.
Right. Jan, Temple of Doom?
Temple of Doom. I'm with Adam. I didn't hate Willie as much as I have in the past. And I think it's partly because I love Marion so much and they're so great together. But like you said, this comes before. So it makes sense that he wouldn't be with someone quite as awesome as Marion yet. And there's a moment that I guess I've seen it every time I've seen this movie before, but it really struck me in this context. And that's in the opening sequence when his friend, the waiter who's not a waiter, who has the gun.
He's not a waiter.
He's not a waiter. And then he gets shot. He says something. He's like, "Oh, so many great adventures we've been on together, Indy." And I love that because like Raiders, this kind of starts in the middle.
Right.
Right?
It suggests a whole history.
And it suggests exactly what you're saying, that he's been a long time, he's been this adventure. Like, how do you hook up with Shorty? We don't really find that out, but I love that we don't.
Was it?
And the waiter also has the great line that Indy has always taken the lead, but now he gets to
now I get to go
experience
first.
the final
Which,
adventure.
of course, reminded me of Snakes. You go first. So yeah, I actually enjoyed it, and I found it a little
You guys
less
are the
dark
best.
than I have in the past. Maybe because I'm used to it by now.
Yeah.
So
I feel like the last time, I mean, I watched it again a couple months ago, maybe a year ago, and I liked it a lot more because I had a real on-off relationship with it where I would watch it once and like it and then watch it again and not like it. Because I remember we marathoned the first 3 movies right before Crystal Skull came out, and I feel like that day we were all pretty down on Temple of Doom. Like,
that's what
the
I
racism, because it had been so long since I had seen it that I feel like the racism
And
and
were
the
we watching them
sexism
in
of
order?
Willie, like, it was all
So
really coming out, and we're like, what is this movie? And yes, I recognize, like you said, Mike, that it's racist and dark and kind of mean-spirited. But, I mean, it's so incredibly well directed that, like, even if I couldn't look past that stuff, which I'm able to for a number of reasons, I would have to just appreciate it as a piece of filmmaking technique. It's unreal the way that Spielberg puts that thing together.
Every trick in the book, from like green screens to models to miniatures to stunt people to it's all right there.
Raiders is my favorite still, just because of the story and the newness
Now,
of
the
it.
last
And
time you
it
saw
has
it,
more heart.
Did you because you watched it with Raiders? You think that colored it because Raiders
Maybe
is like,
that's what Jan was kind of saying.
Yeah, I mean,
that Raiders is so good, and then you go into Temple of Doom. Like, maybe you need to watch them backwards and start with Temple of
well,
Doom.
which would
and
make
then
sense
watch
chronologically, right?
Right.
I will say that Temple of Doom is I have the score in my head right now.
Okay.
Like of all the movies we watch, and that was
Sure.
the second movie. Like that's the one in my head right now. So that's
I have the score from Night of the Comet, which is that song about the disappointing lady. So Raiders is still my favorite, but I feel like Temple of Doom might be like the best directed of the series.
Like Doug was saying, you look at the last sequence, which is sort of like you're going to go to a movie in the summer, and as a bonus, Spielberg is going to give you a ride on a roller coaster.
Yeah.
You look at the Runaway Mine Train, and like you said, there's green screen and there's practical effects and there's miniatures. Especially the way it's edited, the miniature work in that sequence is amazing.
Yeah. And even if you could spot it, and maybe it's the Goonies derivation, whatever, it's like, I'll take it. Like, I could spot one point that thing tipped and there was a body stretched out, and you could tell it was not real, but it still was.
When that guy fell down the cliff, like, I knew he wasn't really falling and
you mean when
his head.
his head hit the cliff several times, and Spielberg shows that in graphic
and again,
detail.
it's a prequel, because that's how he got that red mark on his
Or when
head.
they show the alligators just chomping down on this clothing. I knew that, like, he wasn't really dead.
Right.
But I felt it.
Yeah.
Like
that he was dead.
Like, the B-roll made me feel it.
As the soldiers...
B-roll makes me feel it!
As the soldiers are falling to their deaths, Jan had the greatest tweet that the alligators are saying, enough already, we're fine.
I actually thought Temple of Doom was
What a
going to
feast.
be a little bit more divisive, like because I know that it's kind of a controversial movie in that series, but people seem to be pretty on board with it, which was
Could part of
nice.
that be that when it came out, when Temple of Doom came out, we were all comparing it to Raiders of the Lost Ark, and today we're comparing it to every shitty action movie that came out after Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Well, pre-Crystal Skull, I feel like Temple of Doom was either people's favorite in the series or least favorite. Crystal Skull obviously took care of the least favorite category.
One thing that's kind of interesting that happened to me in the past month or so is if it's a movie directed by a major director, this happened with Hateful Eight when I was watching it, and a lot of people were just kind of dismissing it outright and they not liking it. You have to take into account you're living in an era of watching of watching the work of a master filmmaker, and you have to be a little bit more appreciative of that. And I feel like that's kind of how I watch, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, because there's things in it that I don't like at all, but there's so many things that I just, from like a filmmaking perspective, you just have to appreciate, because nobody can do that particular thing better than Steven Spielberg, and it's a privilege to be watching things like this and be able to see the filmmaking techniques progress. And I feel that way about Tim's story with Ride Along 2, and I feel that way.
So is it just 20 years from now, you're going to be, it was so divisive.
Yeah.
I think Israel could get away with it.
Is it just that we're holding it to a higher standard?
Yeah, absolutely. I think
So
so.
if Rob Marshall had made The Hateful Eight, we'd all be losing our shit.
We would all be talking about what a horribly racist movie it is, probably.
Yeah, maybe that's true.
Wait, is Ride Along 2 more racist than Ride Along?
Was Ride Along racist?
I don't think Ride Along is...
Was Ride Along a movie?
Racist.
Are you confusing it with Get Hard?
I
the
think
other Kevin Hart
they're
movie?
not even interesting enough to be racist.
That would at least be something.
Yeah.
The joke I was trying to make was
Okay.
Raiders versus
Got
Temple.
it. Got it.
Yeah.
Forget it.
Got
Can
it.
we edit the Periscope?
You know who I
Yeah.
forgot to mention is all of our If This Movie peeps who were not with us today, but tweeting in spirit: Mr. Heath Holland, Mr. Eric Asperschlager, Mrs. Melissa Earn, Heather Wixon, Alex Lawson chimed in a few times. It was great to have...
Marcon was here.
Marcon was here for one movie and then had to leave because he's very tired. He had a long day, and I think he tweeted like 3 times. So
And
that was
Eric-
good.
But he was here.
Eric, we love you. Eric has the highest batting average.
Yeah.
His
Eric,
tweets,
you're so
Very.
fucking
the
funny,
most
man.
consistent
Take it
quality.
easy,
What?
Also, Mike Camaro, he was here for a bit, couldn't make it for the pod. Holy shit, you're right there.
He came in all the way from Arlington Heights to Rolling Meadows.
Mike wasn't going to be here for the podcast.
No, this was a big surprise. This was awesome. I'm
genuinely glad that you are.
I think
I
for the whole
told Mike
10
that he would be
hours-
so happy that he was back.
I'm genuinely because I made one joke about his wrong opinion about Last Starfighter. Jeez.
For the whole 10 hours,
Sorry, Your
Camaro said
Grace.
era.
Yeah, right.
That's all he did.
That's all I want.
No
Era.
tweets, no snacks.
Any comments that we
Grace.
need to address or questions?
Yeah,
coming
everybody.
in?
Okay, so
There's comments coming like every.
Yeah.
I
seconds.
love these Periscope people. You guys are so fun, and I'm having
Is
a
that
hard time.
euphemism?
We need to,
having a hard time
we need to be
focusing.
addressing you peeps at home.
I know. Someone
Maybe
said,
Erica, raise your hand when they have a good
"What
question.
was
Yeah.
this year's snake punching moment?"
Oh, that's a good
Snake
question.
punching moment.
That was
I know
great.
exactly what it was.
Was it when Indiana Jones punched a snake?
No,
Oh.
when Diane Lane was the snake and Michael
Oh.
Paré punched her at the
That
subway.
wasn't
That was-
awesome. That was just
Oh,
like,
no.
People, no,
It was
people
jarring.
were thrown
the
because we
punching
don't.
of the snake was triumphant.
Was yes.
No, I'm not saying
right.
it's triumphant. I'm just saying everyone reacted
No, I
to it.
am. Wait, what are we talking about?
That thing you were subpoenaed for.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. know
I
if
like
there
when Indy
a-
was shouting like the other left or something through the hole in the thing when the things were coming down and the
We're
thing.
all gonna die.
Yeah.
That one. Yeah, that was good.
The snake punchiest moment.
The snake punching.
Well, how do you define that? It's an awesome, unexpected moment. That's pretty much the
Right,
two
kind of.
parameters.
Patrick's
Yeah.
beard, right?
Because I guess that wouldn't. It was the most shocking.
When Samantha comes back, I think a lot of people were it blew up when they're
In
like,
Night of the
"What
Comet."
fuck?" Yeah, like how do they get rid of her? And then so when she comes back, I think there was a
And again, the
Because
movie.
again,
We're going to talk
people
about Night of the Comet in
yeah.
just a second, but the movie is so good that it convinces you that it might
Right.
be willing to
That it
because she
might-
is technically an
Yeah.
expendable character.
Yeah.
She's not attached to anyone but Catherine Mary Stewart, and of course you could fridge her and make that her motivation.
Fridge
for the
like
rest-
a crystal skull.
like your boy.
Like mutt.
And so
The
she could
beef.
legitimately be dead, and
Right.
the movie would still work. And so again, that's why that moment works so well. And then they bring her back. A couple years ago, we went to a screening of Night of the Comet on 35mm, and they fucked up in the projection and showed the reels out of order and blew the reveal that she
Yeah.
was alive. And so it was very
It
upsetting.
did not make sense.
Very
Usually I'm in favor of
oh.
Samantha blowing the reel, but blowing the reveal,
I get another snake
blowing the
punching
reel
moment.
of the
Yeah,
reveal.
yeah.
Jesus, take
When
the
they're
wheel.
getting ready for a fight, and then a guy brings out 2 sledgehammers.
Yeah, that was pretty
Streets of
cool.
Fire, and just like
The sledgehammer fight might have been the snake punching moment.
Yeah, pretty great.
It might have been.
For the longest time, that's what I remembered of Streets of Fire. It's the film where 2 guys fight with hammers.
Maybe the snake punching moment was that androgynous girl dancing on the bar in Streets of Fire.
Gozer the Gozerian?
Gozer, the
Yeah.
Gozer.
And Streets of Fire. I think this snake punching
Tra-
moment was
tra-la-la-la.
inside all of us all along.
Yeah.
The snake was in here.
That's right, in the future.
Any other questions, Bew?
Anyone have any other questions? They're so fun though. There's hearts on the screen. We don't totally understand
This
what
is
the hearts
fun.
mean.
I'm sorry that we're not.
No, this
that we're
is.
not
I'm
engaging with
having
you
so
guys.
much fun.
Well,
I
if
get
you
to
see a
hear
question,
you
let us
and
know.
see you,
Let's
and I
suggest
get
if
to
there's a
read.
great question, just I
Yeah.
know it sounds silly, but just let us know.
Raise your
somehow.
hand.
Someone
But
asked
not the
if there was a
hand
Twitter MVP. I know you guys kind of said Eric Asperschlager.
I think Eric Asperschlager.
Ike Odin was
Yeah, he's-
crushing it.
God,
Very
I
fun.
wrote so many.
Bulls Watch was cracking me up.
Bulls
Yeah.
Watch
Yeah.
comes in with some funny ones.
You guys are all
They're all great. They're all
pretty
great.
awesome.
The hearts on the Periscope screen are likes, and we're getting lots of likes. So thanks to
Nice.
everybody.
Fun.
Oh.
Thank you. This
Hearts
is our
are the
first time
movie
really
love
using
for
Periscope.
the movie
so
lovers.
I like that.
16 million likes.
So we'll move on
now
to
just
Oh,
cough.
thanks
doing
for
that
that.
like
for the
me.
rest of the
we'll move on
podcast.
to Night of the Comet if we get a question or something that you feel like we should answer.
I'll just raise my hand.
Okay, go for it. Oh, you mean you will? Okay.
Yeah, I will.
So Night
Wait,
of the
she
Comet,
did it
Douglas.
again.
Always back to me with
Yeah,
the
I know.
in-depth, thoughtful,
Yeah.
philosophical sometimes analysis. Which one? Night of the Comet.
Night of the Comet.
I loved it. This is a movie I'd seen a couple times before, probably
You
with
just changed
you.
the way I think about that movie.
Oh, table set.
Do you want to know how I saw it in the past? I went to the theater. It's usually my in-depth analysis from
Tell
previous
us more.
podcasts. No, it's great. I kind of forgot the movie, and I was almost expecting it to be funnier.
I could picture the comet.
I was expecting it to be funnier. It wasn't a super funny movie, but it's a super kick-ass movie with lots of. I mean, it's such a bizarre. I think even the tweets. What struck me with the Twitter was that people were saying like, I had no clue that this is where this was going,
Right.
and here we are. How'd we get here? It's just a crazy. If you didn't really know anything about this movie, and like within the first 15 minutes, what happens, and then it goes like 4 more steps beyond that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And somebody asked a question that we couldn't answer, which was like, why do most people turn to dust and some people turn into zombies?
Right.
It was the level of like
Yeah.
That's what I think.
exposure.
The level of
Yeah.
exposure.
Right. Okay.
And then the
'Cause
other
Jeffrey Lewis
question-
is a zombie by the end.
Right.
The other question was if they in the preamble they talked about how this incident happened when the dinosaurs went extinct, and it's like how we
Where were the zombie
Practically
we
dinosaurs?
have dinosaur
overnight.
bones.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
And they were
Look,
the
they're
Earth is only
bigger
1,000 years
and
old
they're
anyway.
How come
denser.
there's still monkeys?
So the dinosaurs in Jurassic Park were all
Are
in a
monkeys.
garden shed.
They're monkeys.
Here's what I have to say about that. Life finds a way.
Night of the
Let's
Comet.
go faster.
Yeah. So what's the lead actor's name? Not.
Robert Beltran?
Yeah, him aside.
Estrada?
Him aside, I like everything about Night of the Comet.
Call me Hector.
Yeah, Night of the Comet's interesting, especially kind of in where its place was in this marathon, because it's like a really great deep cut on an album. It's like, let's cool out for a little
that
bit.
was no
and just
mistake.
kind of,
It's placement.
yeah, it was so.
He
that
knows
was.
what he's doing.
Oh,
It's also odd though because he played
that's
Dark
the-
Side of the Moon when we
that's
watched it, so we got to hear 0 dialogue.
and we all were eating marijuana.
But it was
so
like-
that kicked in about an hour.
I was smoking it like a cigarette.
No, I was just eating it. It was good. It was yummy.
What do you put in the cookies?
Yeah. Ooh. Yay. No, one thing that this one scene that I really like in Night of the Comet is
Patrick
the...
smokes dope like Popeye.
That's nice.
He'll gladly pay you Tuesday for some marijuana today.
All right, shut the fuck up. Whiskey's talking. All right, so
Who are you, Centauri? Nerd joke.
So I really like
Sorry,
the
you
last
like that
scene in Night of the Comet, and it's so stupid. But one thing that kind of clicked with me is that these lead characters have survived this. They've survived like the most horrible ordeal that you could imagine, and they have complete freedom to restructure their lives in any way they see fit. And that's such like an kind of motivational and interesting metaphor for just like people at that age, because they're both what, college age or teenage high school age and stuff like
Samantha's
that.
still in high
18.
school.
Yeah, so
She
I don't
says
know. That just
Yeah.
kind of really touched me, and like I've always liked the movie, but this is probably the time where it clicked for me as being just like, oh, it's something that's good and being something that's kind of meaningful.
Well, they also changed it.
Yeah.
It is, I mean, it's a new world, and they did change the definition of a person dying to a death, murder, kill,
Yeah.
or a
Yeah.
DMK.
nice.
I'm out of here.
Nice.
drops the mic.
Mike, you were not
I'll wait.
here for Night of the Comet. Do you want to weigh in on it?
No, you can skip me.
Okay.
I was
You were
here,
also
but
not here?
I had a lot of Jan's cookies, and I was high as fuck. so, I was not here, so you can skip me.
That's
but
my
I do
bride.
love-
But you like this movie. You
I
can
love
weigh
the
in
movie.
on it if you want.
No, I mean, it's not fresh enough in my mind to really
All right.
talk
No,
about
it's
it.
okay. Like, could you do the Adams impersonation?
No, I'm alright.
Fuckers.
J
See,
Bones?
you're not the only one who gets it.
Oh my god! I don't think I've ever heard him do that.
Oh my god, really?
Dude,
He does it so much.
him and his wife will have complete conversation.
I think
And
you,
it's
incredible.
Christy.
It's kind of incredible. One thing that struck me watching it today was it really reminds me of an American International movie.
Yeah.
If American International had kept up
Right.
in its old way into the 80s. And again, it's what you can do if you're clever and you think it through and you figure out where to put your resources, because it really looks and sounds like a movie that costs a lot more. And it's a lot of fun. Like we said on the Twitter, it took several twists and turns that people weren't expecting, which I thought was fun to watch on the Twitter.
Think about how much mileage they get just out of making the sky that orange color, and it's like, oh, that's the only special effect we need, you know? And people are even commenting on not only how effective it is, but how beautifully shot it is, too, which is like such a small, cheap effect, but
That's Spielberg for you.
way more than like 100 trash can fires.
It's very
you know?
like otherworldly, and
Right.
it kind of just makes you feel uneasy. You know.
We have a question coming in on
Someone,
Periscope.
Emily says, besides
Hi, Emily.
popcorn, what else did you guys snack on?
Marijuana.
No.
A lot of-
No, we are teetotalers here. We did not snack on marijuana. Jan made some delicious cookies. You all
Yeah,
saw
they
those.
were very
Popcorn,
some vegetables.
vegetables with some sink dip. We
Chips,
had
guacamole.
Oh, wait, you know what? Someone earlier
Guacamole.
actually asked what...
Guacamole.
Jan's salsa and guacamole, and
The
her
best.
salsa and guacamole.
Oh my gosh, the best
There were
guacamole
donuts?
ever, you guys.
Late in the proceedings,
County
we got
donuts.
pizza.
Yeah?
Yeah, we
Yes,
got
there was
peanuts.
pizza.
P-I-Z-Z-A.
Someone asked earlier what was in Jan's water bottle, and I wanted to answer just water, but
Gin,
they ththought it was
It's
no
always
alcohol
just
down
gin
there,
and
you guys.
juice.
No one is drinking
Boys
anything
and
other
girls
than.
and-
All we need is movies.
Wow, they need
Oh,
this.
Steven
We're
Zarello
high
asked
on
that
movies.
question.
Oh.
It's a wonderful life.
High on
Yes.
movies.
Sucking down gin and juice.
Jan, Night of the
Laid
Comets?
back.
Night of the Comet. Okay, for a movie made in 1984 called Night of the Comet, with the budget that it had and the time that it was being made in and the type of movie it is, it didn't need to have characters that were as real and as well developed, with real well developed relationships between them as it did. So I loved that. Like that moment where the little sister's mad at the big sister for like stealing the only guy in the world. And like she would be. Like, you know,
Yeah.
when you're 6, she would be, but then they get over it and
And DMK comes along. So.
right? And I just their spirit, the way she wants to, like, no one's around and there's a radio, but like I'm gonna go on the radio. I just love that kind of verve.
Gray Weirdo agrees with you.
I also really like the
course
moment
he
at
does.
the end with the two kids. In a weird way, it
All
reminded me
weirdos
of
agree
Up.
with her.
This feeling that
They're
you...
gonna fly with balloons.
No, that's Eric the actor. That we can redefine family any way that we want.
Right.
And at the end of Up, we're really glad that the two of them have found each other. And at the end, we have this nice sort of
Well, it's
nuclear
like Adam
family.
said, okay, anarchy, dogs and cats live. No, but it's anarchy. The world is basically over, so they can define their own world, their own society now. And what do? They dress up and wait for the light to change and take
The burden of
pictures their
civilization
kids.
is upon them.
Yeah.
I've noticed though, in everyone is talking, we haven't brought up Catherine Mary Stewart.
Leave it to
She's-
me.
What do you
She's
think about it?
so cute, and like she's who I wish I would have wanted to be when I was 18, or would have wanted to be like that when I was 18.
Yeah.
Well, compare her to any.
I liked her like 'cause she reminded me of the girl in the first movie.
Patrick's going to comment on Catherine Mary Stewart because his personal title for Night of the Comet is the second subpoena.
You can't compare her to any character in any other
No.
movie, or especially teen movie, because she has certain characteristics that would define her in any other movie. She's introduced playing this video game, and so any
Right.
other movie would turn her into
Video game girl.
video game girl, kind of a tomboy, right?
Yeah.
But then she's not that at all.
She's also kind of
And
a
then
slut.
She's right. She's sleeping with the guy,
Right.
and then
Well, who
she's
can resist Michael
maternal.
Bowen?
It's established that they both have weapons training and are totally
Yeah.
capable, but they're not
Dad would've got us
militaristic, super tough chicks. Again, the Kelly Maroney Samantha character wearing the cheerleader outfit in any other movie becomes just spoiled,
Ditz.
bratty ditz valley girl. She's her character in Fast Times, you know, like, we work really hard on this. And she's not, like you pointed out, and I had said something on Twitter, that they didn't need to make her as realistic as it does when she's upset that, like, I liked this boy and he's gone now and everyone's gone now and you have the
Right.
last guy. It gives her so many scenes where she's like, there's so much pathos there. And to me,
Whoa.
that's
And-
what
What is there? What is there?
to me, that's what
Professor
makes the
Bromley.
movie so
Aw.
special. It's the tonal shifts, it's the weird
Yeah.
idiosyncrasies that it's not like any other movie. And then it has these characters who are like so well realized and so lived in and so different from all the other teen movie characters of the period. I
And
just
they
think
would have
it's
either
such
had
a
one of these scenes like, well, we're sisters and we'll be together forever, or they would have like had the scene where they're sisters who hate each other.
right.
There wouldn't have been this all
It
this
avoids
middle.
all of these stupid
Yeah.
mistakes. You know, the only mistake it really doesn't avoid is casting Robert Beltran. Kidding, he's fine. Listen, whatever.
Ships.
But I would just be so happy to just watch the movie about them. But then how will they repopulate without half punch babies? So it's fine. It
The
is
guy
what it
in the
is.
car at the end,
DMK.
and the kid with the football. That's all you need.
No, yeah, you're right. All
They'll
right.
make plenty of Johns.
Any questions that we need to go to?
No questions right now.
Okay. Good job, Periscope audience. All right. So let's move on then to Streets of Fire.
Everyone's changed the channel to Jeff the Drunk.
Oh, and now see, that's when you shame them, then they
Yeah.
ask things. Okay.
Shame on
Hey,
you.
the questions from Jeff the Drunk.
Shame on you.
Well,
phone.
What's the question?
how do you pace the fest, Patrick?
How do we pace the fest?
How do you pace it? Yeah, like what's your thought process? Someone asked, does Patrick pick all the movies? Which I think
Yes.
most people know yes, but I think that was a newer listener. And someone said, how do you pace it, Patrick? Like, what's your thought process? It's kind of like when you used to make me mixtapes
Yeah.
I
back in
think
the day,
even at
and he
High
still
Fidelity,
makes
talk
me
about
mix
the
CDs.
mixtapes.
Right.
Yeah.
There's not like a science to it.
There
There's
is.
No,
just-
there is a Patrick
There's
Bromley
one that makes
science.
sense in my head.
I think it's the right one.
I think there's a certain
That's why I
kind of
married
movie
you.
have to end with. I think
That's right.
You
Night
should
of the
say he's a
Comet.
genius.
Night of the Comet could only go where it was going to go. Last Starfighter and Streets of Fire, I think, could have flipped in some iterations.
No.
I
in my
disagree.
head.
No.
That Starfire is too slow.
But that's
think,
why I
at
went
that
with
point.
Last Starfighter
Yeah.
first, because I think Streets of Fire would have alienated some people right off the bat.
I get
And
it.
you gotta wait till they're like 4 movies in.
No, I think the way you structured it, the pathos came out good.
Doug, that's not what that word means.
I pathosed all over upstairs.
That's what it was. The order makes sense to
You'll
me
pay
every
for
year,
that.
but there's not like a.
He slimed me.
I wish I had like a
Please
formula,
slide.
but
Steven Zerello asks, you mentioned before that some years you can't do because of the movies, or some. The question went away, so Steve, sorry if I messed that up. The question's gone.
Why you
Some
don't
years-
do movie
yeah,
though?
some years we can't do because of the movies.
No,
that's
because.
true.
Sorry, Steve.
You can ask it again.
Like,
That's
Ask
a
again.
dumb
Last year
question.
of
Ask it
1988
again.
when no movies came out.
Some movies we can't do because of the year.
Yeah. Okay.
It's the
yes,
year.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's just the year.
But sometimes the
Okay,
movies
but-
are in the year, but we don't do them anyway.
Can't.
No.
Some years can't movie time. So
Sometimes the movies are in one year and out the other.
If you want to ask,
Oh,
if you want to ask the question again, I'll do my best to answer.
Certain years don't work because the movies don't lend themselves to this format. Thanks,
Yes,
Steve.
That's absolutely true. We talked about that on the podcast, I think, last week, that there's a certain kind of movie
House of
that
Sand and Fog.
works really well, and it's the kinds of movies that they
Beaches.
made from like 81 to 95. And someone even said on Twitter, I think it was like Rob DiCristino who had a lot of great tweets.
Oh,
yeah,
he
he was
did,
another great
yeah.
one too.
He said something to the effect of like, I wondered what that meant, that like a certain kind of movie works for this, and now I get it, and that
Yeah.
made me very happy. So yeah, I just think there's a certain kind of movie, and it's the kind of movie that they made over about a 15-year period, and when we run out of those 15 years, we're just going to start back over again.
Because there's plenty of movies from
Again.
82
Yeah,
and 91.
Tron.
Yeah.
Tron Legacy. Tron the Troning. All right, so Streets of Fire, Douglas.
The Return of Tron Rant.
Yeah.
Streets of Fire was, for me, personally, the weakest link of the
You
5.
shut the
I know. I love the
Runs.
music. Diane Lane is the cutest. I think for me, Diane
in
Lane...
high school when the movie was made, so just watch what you say.
No. I mean...
Just what? Be careful.
Be-
Is that
Diane Lane? She, for me, she was my personal CMS. I think she was the bee's knees. She was gorgeous and beautiful and pretty, and I would never have punched her right in the face. I stressed the wrong syllable there. Like, I should have just said stressed never instead of the face, like implying I would punch her somewhere else. No. I'll never punch her right in the face. Did it again.
Kids, if you punch ladies, you're going nowhere fast.
So, but I also thought it suffered from a very Stallone-esque wooden Michael Paré performance, who was just an interchangeable, good-looking but just empty vessel of a lead male character. I love the music. I love the Willem Dafoe, the villains. But to me, I couldn't ever immerse myself in the movie as much as I wanted to. It kept me at arm's length.
Who from '84 would you have put in that role?
Instead of Paray?
Yeah.
Moranis?
Beltran.
Beltran. It's so much work. God damn it.
Hector. Call me Hector. Maybe Moranis, I think. Bill Murray.
Nice.
I'm just going to name actors. Ronald Reagan. He was busy.
Jimmy Stewart was still alive.
Stallone.
He was.
Maybe
Yeah.
Stallone.
Maybe Stallone. Yeah, I think that Michael Paré. Can't do that.
Adam Risky, Streets of Fire?
Yeah, for a lot of the reasons Doug mentioned, I mean, like, I really love this movie. The opening and final music sequences are some of the greatest things ever. I mean, like, I could watch those scenes individually on YouTube just, like, to listen to the songs and everything, and out of context, and it's great. And, yeah, you know, well, you already claimed Diane Lane as your CMS, so
Yeah, we can share her.
I wanted to do that.
She's a dirty girl.
So, yeah, I don't know. But, sick day, Monday, for sure.
She gives me unfaithful thoughts.
So much Dahmer goo is going to come out of my penis. Wow. No, it's a great movie. I had a lot of fun watching it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Mike, you were not back yet.
Not back yet. And I haven't seen it since your birthday party.
Compare it to... I won't make a Game of Thrones joke. What do you think of it, 10 years ago?
To be fair, I was getting a handy at the time.
Oh, wow.
So,
Really?
yeah. No.
Oh, yeah.
Wait a minute! I was next to him in the theater!
Yeah.
I was like, what?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You mean like this, bud?
I'm sorry, I should have used lotion. My hands are so dry.
But
It's winter.
Your you is not as good.
I know. It's just me.
Mike, sing something in Vader.
Better?
In Better, yeah, sorry, Better.
Oh my God.
Sing Better.
Darth Better? Darth Better is your new And now, ladies and gentlemen, for the first time ever, Darth Vader.
That's Darth Bane.
Patrick, have you ever talked about your birthday party on the podcast?
Why would I?
Oh.
1 year closer to death. My name's Patrick.
It's like talking into a mirror. It's like podcasting into a mirror. People can watch
Oh, yeah.
this.
You just kiss right now?
That's why I show up every year.
Adam,
One
were you
year
back
it's
for
going to
Streets of Fire?
happen.
I was not, but I am going to comment
All
on
right,
this. Like, I will say that it gave me a little bit of that I didn't feel like I was so weird when I heard that other people were like, "What time?" Because like the first time I saw it, I was like, when does this take
Yeah,
place?
but you were giving Mike a hand job. That's not fair.
Listen.
When is this gonna finish the movie? I could do this all day.
It was weird because I had to do a lefty, and I'm not used to that. Anyway, that's all I'm going to say.
All right. Jamie?
I don't think I've seen it since it originally came out.
Oh, wow.
I really don't. And it was very different than the way I remembered it. The only thing I remembered was the fight with the hammers and Rick Moranis' line, which I told Adam Risky I've been misquoting for however many years. The line is, "These clothes cost more than you make in a year." And for 10 or 15 years I had been saying, "You see this suit? This suit costs more than you make in a month."
You turned it into this long...
Hey, you, look over here. No, over here.
It was interesting to see Rick Moranis basically play the nerd he's always played, but without anything funny or
Right.
endearing or lovable.
Yeah, he's the worst.
But I think that was a deliberate decision by him and Hill. We could argue about whether it works or not, but it was interesting as sort of an acting exercise to see the Honey, I Shrunk the Kids guy
Without tiny children.
But by the end, he's not really the worst because he's willing to let the girl go. So how's he the worst?
They have the nice Casablanca moment.
He fought Cody with a giant toothbrush over a Cheerio, though, right? That was the...
And the other thing I was thinking, not that it's the only one, but Streets of Fire might be the best remake of The Searchers ever.
Nice.
Because once you start doing little comparisons in your head, oh my lord, beat for beat, man.
Again, I love the idea that Walter Hill makes 48 Hours, and it's this huge commercial hit, and it's like, I can make anything. I'll make this a movie for no one.
No, I mean, it definitely has an audience, and I think, again...
Yeah, but the audience is like 20 years later. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Sure.
I feel like the movie's so ahead of its time.
Where does Streets of Fire rank on your Walter Hill movie list? Yeah.
Oh, I don't. I mean, I love it, so it's high, but I wouldn't make a case that it's his best movie.
Yeah.
But it's real
That's
high.
Switchblade
'cause I love
Sisters.
it. It's not Walter Hill, dude.
No.
That's Jack Hill.
Oh! Wait. What?
Jan,
Walter
Streets of
Hill?
Fire.
Streets of Fire.
Streets of Fire.
Yeah, it's been a
Oh, I
long
know
time
that
since
movie.
I saw it, but you just said something that I think is really interesting, and which makes, like you said, the 15-year period that you would want to do this fest
Bye, Rick.
about. He could come off 48 hours, right? 48 hours, and then just be like, nobody's gonna know when it takes place. It's gonna have a completely different aesthetic. And he could do that back then. And I think now directors can't do that really. A movie like that wouldn't, because they would say, who's the audience?
Right.
And can we sign Pare up for a 3-movie deal
Right, right.
now?
Mhm.
And
Right.
then
Kind of
Turns out you can. They
sign his
kinda
own
do
Yeah,
name.
he's not-
You know what
that
I would
busy.
compare Streets of Fire to? Sucker Punch.
I was
Okay.
going to say the exact same thing. Yeah.
But
yeah,
you didn't,
I could.
so...
Now it just sounds like you're aping someone else's opinion again.
But yeah,
I fucking hate this
Yeah, just-
podcast.
This is what you get to do when they loosen the leash a
yeah,
little
let's
bit.
just go bonkers. And I think
Right.
there was so much more of that back then, where it didn't matter. Like people didn't have as many expectations, either when they were making the movie or even going to see the movie. It'd be like, just let art flow over you, babe.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and this is not original to me. I want to say it was Elric Kane on Killer POV has talked about the 80s before, and what part of what makes the 80s so special in terms of movie making is that it's really one of the few periods where filmmakers had the movies are made with a ton of imagination, and they actually have the budgets to support that imagination. Now you can't have movies with imagination because they don't give you the money to do it. Movies are either $500,000 or $150 million, and the $150 million can't have any imagination because it's too risky.
Because they can't risk it, right?
Right, and
I have nothing to do
Too
with
risky.
500,000. There's no
Because if they're going to spend that much, they have to make it a 3-picture deal, and they have
Right.
to start getting the
with their release
merchandising in
dates
line
5
right
years
now.
out.
Yeah.
It has to appeal to these demographics. Has to be PG-13. And
That red car has to
But
be
movies
miniaturized
like-
into a
Right,
toy.
right.
Last
It's
Starfighter
risky
and
business.
Night of the Comet and Streets of Fire are all like these one-offs that if they tried to make those movies now, then people would be talking about sequels and stuff like, and you don't need that.
Right.
You want them to exist as their own single thing.
Right.
And that's what makes them special.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
And one of the other great things about Streets of Fire, which I tweeted about, is its production design,
Yeah.
which, again, is part of that trick that makes people say, when is this taking place? But as I was watching it, I was like, how many buckets, how many gallons of mud did they use? Because every vehicle, every storefront, every street, it's like, it rains here once when they're kissing. But if you notice that everything's covered with a layer of mud.
And a lot of the night scenes were shot during the daytime under an enormous tent that cost over $1 million. They put up a giant tent to
That's
block
where
out
their
the
money
sky and shot for night.
Well, I
What's
didn't
our
know
tent
that.
budget?
Under a
I directed 48
It's
hours.
about 1.4 million, it turns out. That's what a
Nick
tent.
Nolte's like, give him the tent.
Although I don't really mean that's what the money meant. Because there's so much other production design
Yes.
everywhere, from the hairstyles to the cars, and
To
so there's
Bill
a lot
Paxton's
of actually
tooth.
for how dirty and lived in the movie looks. There's actually a lot of money up there that you can see.
And to be fair, the studio can reuse the night tent.
Sure, yeah. For
That's-
that movie Night Tent that they're making.
And also for weddings. So.
I'd go see a movie called Night Tent.
Again, the log line is like
It's not as good
a
as
street
Tents of
gang steals a rock singer and her ex-boyfriend bounty hunter has to rescue her. Like, who wouldn't see that fucking movie?
Sure.
My goodness.
But given that log line, who would expect that?
right,
movie
yeah.
that we actually get.
Yeah. I love it. And then we closed out, of course, with G Busters. Douglas?
Loved it. Perfect movie. Super great. Super quotable. It was one of those movies that I'm not even offended when other people quote it over the dialogue because it's so timeless and great.
Which
I
is
wanna hear
lucky, because we were all doing
Oh
that.
my
like,
goodness.
the whole
it. It
movie.
is so great.
Oh, okay, it's my turn. So I've seen Ghostbusters a lot of times, but it was almost all like before I was 10 years old, and I think I've only seen it since then, maybe once or twice.
Oh wow, really?
So it feels new to me every time. So I still kind of
Wow.
am in that lucky stage where it does feel like it's reinventing itself each time, and I appreciate it even more, and not just at like a kid level, like ooh cool. Like I did like a tweet where it was like a thing my parents remind me of when I was 5. I used to go up to the landscapers with the leaf blowers and ask them if they were using proton packs and stuff like that, and I hope they thought it was funny. They were probably like, yeah, cabron. They probably weren't too happy about it, but anyways, so yeah.
Adam's point, he was born rich.
I was not born rich. So
He's born Adam.
yeah, I was just born a man.
Oh, how I used to annoy the help.
I hugged
I didn't
Doug.
mean it that way. It just came out that way. Anyway.
I didn't mean to reveal that, but now that it's out.
Oh,
Mike, you were back for Ghostbusters.
I was back. I've seen Ghostbusters a bunch for whatever reason. Well, I've
It rubs
always
them the wrong way.
no, I've always really loved Ghostbusters, but tonight I feel like I appreciated it on a level I never did before. I think you tweeted, Patrick, that it's maybe the greatest comedy. I don't know that I would argue that. It's just pretty perfect from start to finish.
Yeah.
Every line delivery
It's so
from
funny.
everyone is so good.
And so different
Yes,
from each other.
I love
I
it.
think
It felt like the greatest comedy tonight.
Yeah,
It did tonight.
It
Yeah.
did tonight.
I think to your point too, and this is I don't want to just blow smoke up Patrick's butthole because
Thank
his
you.
head's already huge and he's full of himself and we have to knock him down a peg or two. But I do feel like with these types of movies for during the festival, either when you're watching it or reading tweets specifically from him, it's like like you made a comment about like they were going into it like this isn't just they're not bozos.
Yeah, right.
They can be bozo-like, but they're not. They're heroes.
Bozo-esque.
Bozoistic. But they're heroes, and they're doing something noble, and they're about to die. I don't know. I mean, obviously, it's a comedy, so they're not going to die. We know that. We think we know that.
Someone tweeted how elegant and wonderful it is when Murray says "see you on the other side."
But, right. So it's just I think, but there's been moments watching. Jurassic Park was last year's, but I forget. There's like the climactic movies.
Back to the Future.
Yeah, it's always just kind of like this celebration and a new appreciation. Another issuns.
Prestidigitation.
Prestidigitation.
What was 91's last movie? I can't. Oh,
Terminator 2, yeah.
Adoy.
Which is always just like probably the single, like best as far as we're concerned, movie of that particular year. Yeah,
most
arguably.
popular, maybe,
right.
or like
and most like
commercial.
celebrated, most quotable, and it's just it's by the time it ends, you're just on this euphoric high.
Yeah.
And not because of Jan's cookies.
Jan's cookies were the best, though.
They were delicious. Adam?
It's kind of like going along with what Risky said. I saw it a lot when I was younger, and it's kind of always existed in this. Fuck you guys! All right, I've always.
Wait, how does that end your sentence?
Yeah.
I think
That's
you're
how he
missing a
bails on
preposition.
everything.
Yeah.
It's always felt like. I think you need like a conjunction
I do. I just know that the jokes,
a
they want to make
dash,
the jokes.
maybe a dash, an abrupt break in thought. I'm sorry, I'm an English teacher.
In Minnesota.
But I've seen it so many times, and it's only been like we used to watch it at my grandfather's house, and it was like just me and my family, and I've never really watched that movie with anybody else. And just hearing little things that I never noticed about it, like somebody brought up, I don't know who it was in here, brought up Rick Moranis' walk after he's been possessed.
Oh, that was
He's
me.
like,
That was totally me.
It was hilarious.
The way he crosses the street when he's being chased by the dog.
yeah, and it's like those little things that I never really noticed. It's like, yeah, that's hysterical, and like I never really thought about it before. I just kind of existed.
I think all of
Someone
Moran-
asks Adam, how does it compare to Green Lantern?
Shit on
Periscope.
Ghostbusters has no science building.
And it cries out for one. They're scientists.
And there's in this one, the difference is they have scenes where like they get out of the scene and you know how they got out of the scene instead of them just all of a sudden winding up in a different room. And
so great.
Also, Ghostbusters never goes to space. Mike had said Moranis' funny walk.
I really didn't.
It's one
He
shot.
didn't. I did.
It's one shot, but in the library at the beginning, when Aykroyd has the stupid idea, get her, and the ghost turns into the monster, Ramis does this incredible backward step. It looks like a dance move. It looks like he worked on it for days. Because then when they leave the library, suddenly they're going forward. But Ramis is backing up, but like in little hops. And that's another example that everywhere you look in this film, there's something to look at and something to laugh at. It was one of the Twitter people's favorite jokes, but I still remember the last time Jan and I saw it in a theater, we wore our costumes and these proton packs that Jan made, and people were taking pictures with us, remember? That was fun. But that screening was the first time I ever noticed, listen, do you smell something? And I think in little nooks and crannies in the film, those are all over. Little things to love and little things to
I don't
savor.
think there's one wasted line in the whole movie. Everything is either funny or informative. It's not just, there's no filler. To his point, the Moranis stuff, I don't think I appreciated him ever as much as I did tonight's viewing. He is so funny. Every beat he has, it's very calculated. He's not just a nerd. He's like a very particular kind of person.
Right.
Because you were Moranis primed by Streets of Fire.
That's right.
Yeah. There was a lot of
Hey,
them where,
listen
like,
here.
actors
You can have the
showed
girl. You can have her. I'm not going to get in your way. Okay, I will take her.
Moranis Prime is the Rick Moranis in the original timeline.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
You got your DC down, man.
But look at his range, because Patrick just did the serious thing from Streets of Fire, and this was a particular favorite with the Twitter people. Oh, Pooch, nice Pooch, love you, Pooch.
We got double Catherine Mary Stewart, double Moranis, double Aykroyd.
Double Aykroyd, that's right.
There was like one or two other ones I noticed that we got doubles of.
And again, people joke on Twitter all the time,
Double
like,
Lewis's.
"Oh, I see what you were doing," and a lot of it's coincidental. But it is interesting when you choose just a cross section of movies from '84, the way they kind of overlap and talk to each other or whatever. Jan, Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters. Okay, first of all, I have to say, I'm so jealous of you guys. You're always talking about, oh, I watched it at my grandpa's. We watched it all the time. Okay, when I was a kid, A, we didn't go to the movies that much. B, if we had been able to watch our movies over and over again, it would have been like fucking Apple Dumpling Gang. So maybe Witch Mountain
They
would
were
have
the
been worth
Ghostbusters
it.
of
Maybe,
their time.
maybe Escape from
Conway
Witch
and
Mountain.
Knott's.
So
Oh, because when Jan and I were small,
there was like,
there was no home video.
there was no, and so we couldn't do that.
Home
So
video was invented when we were in high school.
To be
Yeah,
fair, I
so-
can't help when I was born.
no,
You can
could.
help that. Very quickly, I have a question for everyone about Ghostbusters. I've always wondered about this. Maybe one of you can answer it. The terror
ask
dog
me.
Yeah.
in Rick
should ask
Moranis'
me.
party
Right.
is real. It's on the bed. Someone throws a coat
Right.
over it,
Yeah.
and it bursts through the wall, and it
Okay.
hits against the wall,
Yeah.
and people see it and react to it,
Yeah.
and it breaks the front door of the building, and it
the
jumps
old lady
across
goes,
the street. Right?
Yeah.
And then it jumps down.
Keep going.
But then, when he's at the window of Tavern on the Green, he disappears out of the frame. Is the idea that the dog is out of the frame?
I think so.
yes.
It suddenly appears as though only
Right.
he can see it, like it's a hallucination.
I can answer that. Yes.
Yeah, I think the idea is just the
That
dog's out
one
of it.
shot looks like they're trying to save some bucks.
Yeah, you're probably right. But I think it also speaks to the fact that, like,
They don't want to step on the joke where everybody just goes.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
Reagan's America, and fuck this plebeian that's getting eaten
So
by
would
a
the joke
gargoyle
not work if you
dog.
showed the dog?
I don't think so.
Or it
No, I
wouldn't
think
work
People would
as
have to
well?
react to
Better.
the dog.
Right.
Okay.
They'd be like, oh, my pearls!
Also, it lets Moranis be funnier when there's nothing.
Sure.
He's funnier that way.
Jan and I ate at Tavern on the Green on our honeymoon,
Yes.
and the waiter was extraordinarily New
so
York rude.
unctuous.
We had a coupon.
Anxious beats pathos.
I
We had a
figured that.
coupon
That was my guilt.
for one, like it came with the package.
You don't use coupon.
So you get dinner and the tip is included. So this guy knew that his
Do
tip
your-
was assured. I used the wrong fork.
It's a true story.
Accidentally, this is back when I didn't know how it worked, and it came and went and everything, and then the next course
we
came.
were like rubes.
And he walked up to the table, and how would you describe it, Jan?
He did this with the fork.
Wham!
You'll be needing this, sir.
And then he walked away. It echoed in the restaurant.
Okay, can I say one more thing
He's probably
about
dead.
Ghostbusters?
Okay.
Is I've decided, like, he's so funny in this movie. Harold Ramis's face.
Oh yeah.
It's just like my comedy spirit animal. His eyebrows, just his little this thing he'll do. Like, just that. Like, when he does it.
Do it again, do it
Do it
again.
again for Periscope.
Oh, people on the podcast, you are missing this.
Oh my goodness, what a visual.
And Patrick made this point during
He's so good. He's
on
so
the
good.
Twitter that you could do a psychological thing of why these three guys found each other, because Aykroyd's enthusiasm, it's like it's been his hobby since he was in 8th grade, reading about all these things. And at one point he's
And
introduced
he's the guy who knows all the.
as the heart of the Ghostbusters, but he really, really is. He's the enthusiasm, and then Ramis represents the brain,
Right.
and Murray represents the personality. So it's like together they
Perfect.
form one
And
person.
someone else pointed out I can't take credit, and I don't remember who it was, so I apologize, person listening at home or watching on Periscope. When they're first in the restaurant, and the ghost appears, that Murray is the one who says, like, Egon, take the left, or whatever. Like, and they pointed out, like, oh, he's a natural leader.
That was me.
Okay, I'm very sorry. So I don't have to apologize. That was you.
I'm pretty
Thank
sure
you.
it was Mike.
And it's his
Oh, it
idea-
was Mike.
Thank you.
It was Mike.
It's Bankman's idea to start the business.
Right.
Yeah.
And he's
It's
the one
him
kind
all
of taking
along.
charge at the end. What Harold Ramis does is so amazing because it's like he knows that Bill Murray's going to be so funny,
so
and he knows
small.
that there's all these special effects, and yet he's still so funny in such a small way. And everyone in the movie is so goddamn funny.
Switch me on.
And again,
This
and
is my favorite
it
part of the
makes
movie.
his outburst at the end,
Yeah.
your mother, it's so much funnier because it has all built to that.
And one of my favorite lines of his is, I'm paraphrasing, I'm sorry, I'm terrified, past the
Beyond the capacity for rational
thought. So even that statement is rational.
All right.
It's
There we
not-
go.
I think we have a Periscope question.
No, you know what? This is my own question.
Oh.
No one, no wait, everyone
Periscope.
stopped Periscope.
Isn't
No
that
one's
against
watching.
the rules?
More like Erica's
Well,
scope.
related to the Twitter,
Periscope.
there was some talk about
Right
Good one,
there.
Doug.
there was some talk about why Bill Murray didn't have as much marshmallow on him,
Yeah.
Oh, that's so great.
and there were people saying that he
The
didn't
Bill Murray,
want
the
it.
actor, refused.
Right? Is that
Yeah.
true?
No, I think it's a joke.
I've always
Well,
thought
those of us we
it's
here
the
in the room
cross.
thought it was funny, that it was
because he
intentional. It
gets
was a joke.
slimed in the hotel. So we've done that.
The people who were saying it made it sound like they knew something that we didn't. That it really was just Murray
It's
saying,
really funny.
I'm not going to put that on me. So who knows?
It's really funny.
Several of you have already touched on it, but
I'll touch on it.
it's happened the last
touch
2
your
years.
pathos.
Again, with Back to the Future,
With my unctuous.
with Jurassic Park, and now with Ghostbusters. These are movies that I've seen a ton of times, and yet maybe it's because we're watching them in the way that we are. You start to notice that, like, you just appreciate it on a completely new level. And so as much as I was appreciating all the comic construction of Ghostbusters, like, I was also appreciating just the way that the story moves along and those moments of real human behavior, or just how heroic they are at the end, and how, like, badass it is that they're like, okay, we're going to die. These guys who start off as clowns at the end are willing to sacrifice their lives. I just think is so great. And I recognize that it's probably not the best comedy ever made, because that's a really hard argument to win. But man, watching it tonight, I really felt like, because it's got a great story, it has amazing special effects, great characters, every line of dialogue is funny. I mean, it just has so much going for it.
Tonight, the conversation between Aykroyd and Hudson in the
Yeah.
car, where Hudson's like, I really like Jesus, man. But not only is it a human moment without a lot of jokes,
Right, no joke.
but to show how cleverly the script is constructed, there's a lot of exposition in that scene that's handled elegantly.
Yes.
It also shows you how hard it is to write a script that is so airtight. We talk about Back to the Future all the time, like it's such a perfect script.
Yeah.
And I think this one is too. It just gives you a new appreciation for people who can do it really, really well. Because you see scripts out there that follow a formula. Because there's a very simple formula they teach very basic people, and it
Save
follows
the cat.
the arc, and it does the thing. And it follows it, but there's twists and turns, and it does things in the script that are like, well, it's so familiar now, it's hard to separate yourself from the craziness of it. But I think there are things that definitely surprise people. Even the reveal of the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
Right. Yeah, there were people watching who had never seen it and said that they were really reacting at that moment, which is amazing to me. But I guess we're far enough removed that maybe that moment isn't spoiled.
It's a weird thing where it's
in
like
pop
come and
culture.
gone,
Right,
and now
exactly.
it's like it's surprising again.
And I think one more thing about that. I think, and again, this goes back to something you've said several times on the podcast, that movies of this type nowadays have such big budgets. I think in story meetings, they get things taken out of them that are too quirky or too weird or something like that.
Yeah.
So if you see Ghostbusters as this big budget action comedy, it's amazing at the end when you get something so silly and so amazing like the Marshmallow Man.
Well, to that point, too, I think that if it was a studio interference, they'd be like, get to the ghosts. Get to the... I mean, they showed it in the very beginning.
We have Library Ghost, we have Slimer, we
Right.
have Climax. Basically. I mean, there's some stuff, the gargoyles or whatever. We have some of that stuff kind of sprinkled throughout, or the ghost taxi driver or whatever. But
And in that sense, they're sort of using the Jaws model, where
Right.
you give the audience a little bit at the beginning, and then you can wait.
a movie today, and we'll find out, I guess, when we see the Paul Feig one, because there's a Ghostbusters being made in our current blockbuster climate. I feel like now you wouldn't be able to go more than 15 minutes without, like, have them fight another
You're
ghost.
going to see the studio note, more
Right.
ghosts.
And we could be wrong.
There was a discussion.
Yeah,
There
for
was
sure
a
more
discussion on
CGI.
Periscope about the remake.
I missed the whole thing.
I know.
God damn it.
You know what, though?
Doing
The
this podcast.
cool thing with Periscope is when you go back and watch, not like you can answer it, but you can see...
You'll be able to
you
read
can
the
read
comments?
like the comments as they come in
that's cool.
on the recording of
guys.
I
Periscope.
thought this was like the thing that...
Sorry, I didn't know. I would have
No.
warned you.
We can go back and watch? Can we go back and erase it?
You cannot.
Can we go back to the future and never broadcast it?
We can do that, but then your hand will disappear first, then your arm will disappear.
How do you
Sorry,
play the
guys.
guitar? Anyway, we
Team
will wrap up.
Periscope.
What about my penis?
This is super
Can't disappear.
fun.
Too big.
This is super fun every year, and obviously we just have to thank all of you who participated and got into the spirit of the thing, and were
Yeah.
tweeting and just appreciating the work that went into it, and staying awake super late, and just really enjoying watching all these movies together. That's why we do it. And I don't know what else.
That's
It's
Patrick,
7 in the
Erica, thank you
morning.
for
Hey, Luke.
opening your house.
Yes.
Yeah,
We
absolutely.
appreciate that. It's nice.
Well,
to
Everybody, jazz hands.
Anyway, thank you guys very
Jazz
much
hands.
for listening. Thank you guys at
hey.
home for watching. Hopefully, this takes a little
It's a
bit of
good
the
way to end.
sting out
Jazz hands.
when your computer goes off and you're just completely alone in your house. Hopefully, this makes it feel a little bit better. Thanks to Doug for coming in from California. Big surprise.
Hope it was worth it. I feel like no one here really appreciates me coming in.
Anyway, thank you guys so much. Happy
Thank
F
you,
This
Patrick.
Movie Fest. We love you, and we will
Thanks,
see you guys
everybody.
again very soon. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you, everyone.
F this
Mustang
movie.
makes me something.
Something.
Pathos.
It makes me feel good.
Disappointed lady.
Oh, you gotta kill
We're
that
still
theme, too.
recording.
Oh, yeah.
Still live on
I can take
Periscope.
over.
Still live
This
on
is the minute of
Periscope.
extra
Wow.
bonus footage.
That's
for
right. If
people
you're
on
stuck
Periscope.
around, and if people have stuck around, that's worth it, right? I mean,
Yes.
come on. You're in
Woo.
Brunswick, Germany. You're in Netherlands, or
Doug, show
wherever.
them your boob.
That's right. Here, let me just show you.
Look what you guys are getting. Anyway, thank you guys very much for watching. This was an experiment. Hopefully, it was sort of.
Ooh, there's tons of
entertaining.
comments now.
I
don't
know.
know.
It was an evil Nazi experiment.
But thank you guys so much, and make
Can
sure
I
you
show
tune
them
in.
something? What should I show them?
There's new posters
I-
on that.
You know what
What do
they
you
want
want
to
to see
see.
in our house?
Come
Oh,
on. Don't be
No,
disingenuous.
Who wants to see Erica? Read
No
the
one wants to
comments.
see
We
her.
don't need a tour of our messy.
Yeah,
assets.
right.
Eyes lit up.
Let me get out of
God,
here.
Erica, come on. We want to say hi. Your fans are waiting.
Oh, you know what? Wait. You can't see.
Erica, come on, you're ruining F this movie.
This still is going to be posted, so.
Erica, you make me regret flying all the way from Los Angeles.
All right, say goodbye, you guys.
Bye, guys. Bye.
Again?
Thank you. Happy F This
Bye,
movie.
guys.
Thanks for watching.
Yes, have
everyone.
some.
Do you know how to stop it now?
No, I don't know how to stop
Okay.
it. Bye, everybody. You guys were super cool.
Okay. Here we go. And there is Erica, by the way. That's all you wanted to see?
Thanks for watching, everyone. Happy F This Movie Fest.